Well, this is the 51st International Film Festival of India, which is continued to be hosted in the state of paradise, that is Goa itself. Well, this year the city and the capital city is absolutely lit up with lights and decorated with different colors of joy and cinema. And to discuss that with regards to Film Festival of India, the International Film Festival of India, we have with us in studio a director and producer who has done a beautiful documentary which was screened today, Monday, the 18th January in the afternoon. Mr. Shreedhar BS, welcome to Goa 365, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to ask you with regards to this year's IFFI, the 51st IFFI. However, after the pandemic, everyone was confused whether IFFI will happen, whether it will not happen, whether it will be delayed by 3-4 months. However, there are no much people out there. The film enthusiastic is not there in Goa, but the enthusiasm is there. But those young budding filmmakers or the people who want to make their career into the film line, they are missing. So what do you have to say about the IFFI 51 series?
I would say that it is a starting point after such a long lull. In 2019, when we completed this documentary, we were looking forward to IFFI in 2020. And when we heard about the pandemic, there was this hope that it's going to get over in a month, then it became 2 months, then it got extended.
Over a year.
Yeah, over a year. Now, then suddenly when this announcement happened that they're going in for a physical event and not a virtual event, we were very excited about it. And I feel that it's the first step that they've taken. Coinciding with the announcement of the vaccine, it has actually got a lot of positive vibrations. And I feel that, you know, they did a wonderful job in actually allowing a physical event to happen. And yes, I did see some of the preparations over here. Yes, of course, every festivity need people.
Yes.
We do miss them. We do miss the buzz. We do miss a lot of people around. Yes, I came here last year. The difference which I saw on the streets of Goa as well as inside IFFI, inside the theatres, was that, like, you know, there were only a few people around. But even though there were few, all of them were enthusiastic, all of them were happy. I could sense that happiness even through their eyes, behind the mask. I could sense it, and I felt good about it.
So, usually that, as you said, you could feel the presence, their condition, or their liking, their dislike under that mask. So, what do you have to say? Because usually people have, all these years, there was never a mask over their face. It's always maybe when you're riding or something. So, what do you feel about that kind of scenario? Because everyone you see with a mask, or maybe some people, there will be some who wear gloves or something. But what do you have to say?
Of course, I would definitely agree to the fact that, you know, we have to take care of ourselves in a period like this, and it is not something which can be taken lightly. People wearing masks is like a responsible behavior. I would say that more than protecting yourself, it's about protecting the ones who you are talking to. So mask is an essential, if you were to ask me. But I'm very happy to understand that even through all these difficulties, even while we are restricted in many ways, in actually interacting with people or in actually freely talking with people, I saw the joy that people took, the efforts that people take. Even though while protecting themselves and protecting others, they're trying to kind of make a difference. And I feel that that positiveness and that thing is not something which I see as negative. You know, I see as people becoming more and more responsible during this pandemic, and that's my take on it.
The responsibility has come, actually. All these years it was missing. But coming back to the movies, what do you feel about the film industry when it comes to commercial and the non-commercial side? I think you are more into the non-commercial side.
I wouldn't call myself entirely a filmmaker who is just going to the non-commercial side of films. I'm a person who would like to explore all kinds of cinema. I am a true believer of stories, and I feel that stories should be told.
Yes.
Any kind of story should be told in whichever entertaining way we could. And through film, to me, is a medium through which we could have interesting conversations with the audience. We could talk about interesting concepts to the audience, and it can be done in any form. I wouldn't kind of put a differentiating wall between both the factors. But yes, of course, commercial, so to speak, is one place where I see aspirations being emulated much more.
Yes.
And here it is more realism which is being brought to the foray, so that people can learn, be aware, and transform. Whereas over there it is all about projecting or kind of exaggerating aspirations, and they do that. And trust me, like when you see a movie where what you cannot do in real life is being shown,
yes, exactly,
that itself is inspirational.
Like 10 men flying with one punch.
Yes. So the thing is, like, I was always been a comic fan.
Okay.
So if you ask me, like, for me, the superheroes had a different meaning, because things we cannot do, they do.
Yes.
So it kind of motivates you in some form to kind of say. So I feel that the commercial side of cinema has always been successful in doing that, whereas when independent cinema, it's more to do with real life, real stories, and that's the difference. I think that both need to exist together. That's
okay, you also have a production house.
Yes.
The Shred Creative Lab.
Yes.
And you guys have won almost 43 national awards and international awards as well. So how did you start your journey when it comes to this film industry?
Okay, I was into marketing before.
Okay.
I never learned films, if you ask me. My mind always had a thing of weaving stories in my head. I always could see a situation and I could weave stories, and I could get subplots, plots, twists, all of that used to happen in my head, and slowly that transformed into me writing scripts. Stories that slowly transformed into me thinking visually, of arranging things in my mind, and then it pushed me into the world of cinema. I would say it that way. I was in international markets before. I did a lot of documentaries in Dubai, city of Dubai, on the city of Dubai, on the shopping festival of Dubai. I've done a lot of documentaries there. But every project that we have taken on has actually taught us something. And every new project has got some new learning that we get. And I think it's an ever evolving industry. So it is always, if I were to ask me to tell the world, like, what I would like to tell them is that keep learning, keep evolving.
Every day is a learning.
Yes, keep evolving.
Okay, going ahead, I have seen the trailer of your film. I don't want to mention, I want you to tell me the name of that movie, because the name itself says it all.
Okay.
But what was that idea? Why was this movie?
See, what moved me when I started talking to these parents, and what moved me during my research, was the discrimination that these people are facing in our world. And the discrimination is that they see them as different from us.
Yes.
Now that difference is what actually hurt me, because having different people around us makes this world beautiful. Not everybody can be alike.
Exactly.
It can be different. Their interactions can be different, the communication can be different, their thought process can be different. So I felt that, that's why they are called actually differently abled.
Yes.
So when these differently able children coexist with us in this world. So in order to make it into, then also the most important thing we need to understand, they exist in our world.
Exactly. Yes.
So the title should not be misunderstood as their world. It is actually in our world. They exist in our world. And we have to accept, understand, and lovingly accept them into our space, and that is when this harmony would happen. That would help these people, be it children or autistic adults, to be assimilated into our society without being discriminated.
Do you feel that acceptance is missing in today's world, not only with regards to these kind of like autistic children? There are lots of other issues as well. Do you think that acceptance, the belief, the faith, the protection is missing in today's world?
Yes, of course. Now, I would say that it's changing rapidly. People are more aware these days, and people are more interested to learn about other things and to trying to force themselves also to kind of accept. But if you ask me, it still exists. For example, one of the parents told me about a story of him taking their child to to the park, and people inside the park would take their children away from this child. Now I was thinking, what would have gone through this child who cannot communicate that, I'm feeling hurt, but the child is getting hurt by seeing that no one plays with him. Now that is what moved me, and I felt that this is something which the world need to know. Like, we are unconsciously, through fear of something which is existing in air, thinking that these children could harm, and we take our child away. So I feel it's important for the world to know that these children don't mean any harm.
Yes.
They're only expecting love. Their body gestures could be different. They might be having certain, they may not look into your eye and talk, they might look away, but that does not make them anyway somebody who can hurt you. So this understanding need to go, and this misunderstanding I would call it, need to go. We need to build this awareness so that people are more accepting. We build a more inclusive society. Like you correctly mentioned, autism is just one of the conditions.
Yes, exactly.
There are many. There are many.
Yes.
Right? And what these differences are doing is only dividing us further. We should stand together, and we should spread, the whole idea behind this movie was to spread a message of hope. That there is hope still. Because I, being a parent, I can tell you this much. Today we are all aware that there is something called a learning disorder.
Yes.
We are aware that there is something called autism.
Yes.
There used to be a time when people didn't know.
Didn't know.
They didn't know. They used to kind of throw somebody outside the class, say stand on the bench because you cannot understand. But these days parents are very interested to know why he cannot understand.
What is it?
Yeah. So they delve deeper. They understand.
But this autistic children also, they have different kind of issues. Maybe it not be physical, some might be having mental, some may be having, when it comes to speech, eyesight, there are different kinds of things. So in your movie, what are the kind of key elements that you have focused on?
There is no really. I just wanted to show their world to you.
Okay.
So there was no one single issue that I took and said that I am going to talk only about that. It was autism, like you correctly said, it is not similar in terms of symptoms when it comes to people. Hence we call it a spectrum. It's a spectrum of things, right? So in that spectrum, people could be at the basic level, people could be at the middle level or an advanced level of autism. But what we need to understand is that it is a condition that affects your communication skills. Primarily, it's something which affects your communication skills, and if parents are keenly observing this, they can understand this at a very early age of 2. The children may not be responding to you, children may not look into your eyes and talk, children may not call you dada, mama, nothing. So that's the time when you need to have your antennas up. I saw most of the parents were in denial. They were in denial. They were thinking that, oh, my intervention can correct him. Or the grandparents would be saying that, don't worry, you also never spoke at this age. You spoke when you were 7.
That's always there, I feel. I think on that note, we'll slip into a short break, because after the break, I will ask Mr. Shreedhar also more about, especially when it comes to his movie, the type of scenes that he has shot, what message comes from each and every scene that he has shown in that documentary of his. Keep watching God 365, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back, and yes, we are in the second part with Shreedhar. Shreedhar is still here with us, so thank you for being there. So as we continue, we were about the different kinds of autistic children that we see in our day-to-day life. Now we'll go much more ahead. There's a key factor in your film, that is the difference between them and us. Why was this them and us?
It's actually, I'm talking from the point of view of general public who are actually differentiated.
Yes.
And we all of us have that, like, you know, we all of us have, if we see that something is different, then we usually categorize them as them. And, like, you know, they behave this way, they. So I wanted to change that. It is one amongst us.
Yes.
First thing that the message need to come in is that they are one amongst us. So us means it's a single unit, number one. So when it's a single unit, it is like a family. We all live together, we exist together. So hence this whole conclusion that, you know, it happens in our world. That was the primary message that I wanted to give through the film. And also I wanted to say that there is still hope, that we can still live together as one.
Living together as one, that hope. But in our world, as I said earlier, that acceptance is still missing. So when do you feel this hope will come? Actual hope, the ray of hope that we say, when will that ray of hope will be seen by across the world?
I think there should be more communication, like the communication that is about awareness that need to happen. More we communicate, the better it gets. The more aware people are, the less discriminating they become.
Do you feel like people are afraid to speak such kind of issues? Or about, I will not say issues will be very bad to term, but do you think people are afraid to speak about these special kids?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. I'll put it this way. It was very difficult to win the trust of parents to talk about their children. Number one is primarily because they're afraid of the fact that their child would be discriminated, their child would be pushed away by the rest of the community. Most of the people would love to be in denial and in hiding. They wouldn't want to come out and say that, you know, my child is autistic or he has a condition. Not just about, see, there are two factors to it, as far as I go. One is, like, you know, one is feeling a little distressed, or it hurts them to say that my child has a problem, because they are also worried about the acceptance. They're more worried about whether the child would be accepted by the rest of them, and whether he would be ridiculed by the rest of them, whether the other children will start mocking him, they will start bullying him. So there are many fears that play inside their minds.
Yeah, I think the major one is log kya kahenge? What will people say?
Yeah, true.
But I don't understand why. It's like when you have your family, when you discuss certain issues, you close the doors, everything. So that time you don't think of what people will say. But when you step out of the house, you have to say.
It's very clever. If you, it's kind of closed, right? We are more close to our acceptance factors, are very close to our house, close family, close friends. It stays there.
Yeah.
When it comes to kind of acceptance, need to kind of extend to the public, extend to more people than just your family. That is when acceptance would happen. You know.
Do you think India is still lacking behind when it comes to acceptance and accepting or adjusting?
You know,
because if you go to see in the western part, people are okay. They are like very open-minded. Oh, they are okay, there is some issues with this person, there is something wrong, okay, they are like this, they are like that, they accept. But why not in India? What do you feel about it?
Because to a large extent it is like lack of, I would say that our exposure was limited to a large number of years. Now I'm glad that, you know, new age parents are exposed to a lot of things. There is content available for them to kind of read, to understand, to know, and I feel that the new generation of parents are more curious to understand and to kind of work with children. There is a difference that I have noticed now, is that most parents would love to work with children rather than telling the child to work on his own. It is more to do with working with children, holding their hands, taking them forward. So this has enabled them to see their child more closely. This has allowed them to kind of open their mind to the difficulties the child is facing. That's when he is seeing the difference. And also he's already read about it somewhere, or he has heard about it somewhere. So hence, more messaging need to happen in terms of awareness, and the more you do, the better we will get. And that is one of the reasons why people outside India, they were open to discuss these topics. They were open enough to discuss these topics, and there was no taboo attached to it. There was no superstitions attached to it. In India, yes, of course, there's a curse of superstitions. People do waste most of the formative years visiting temples, visiting churches, visiting other places of worship, primarily thinking that there could be a miracle. What happens is, like, you know, that period of time, If they were to go to a developmental pediatrician or the right therapist to work on it, the miracle would have happened.
Yes.
The miracle is our effort. Miracle is our understanding and our acceptance that, you know, this is now this and we have to work on it. That is the miracle. That awareness is the miracle, and unfortunately people seek miracles outside.
Outside, exactly.
Yeah.
So, In Our World was released, screened today, I will say, okay, on Monday. What was the reaction from the audience? I want to.
Well, I'll just point out about one reaction right now. I'm sure that many people came and told me that they were moved by the movie, they were moved by the music in the movie, which I will talk a little bit later. But the only reaction that which moved me or taken me, and it hit my heart, was a gentleman who came and told me that I am moved by a movie because I'm the father of an autistic son who is 37 years old and he's working in Accenture. And he said that we figured out that he is different at the age of 2.5.
Okay.
And he said, I started working on him since then. And that early intervention made my son capable enough to be in a company like Accenture, face the world, work in a working world or otherwise. So that moved me, because if a man who has been through it can tell me my movie is good, means a lot.
You have nailed it.
Nailed it, yeah.
Yes, you have nailed it.
That, yeah.
So, what is the concept of music over words? That's my last question.
See, I'll tell you something. Like I said, we never had a scripted narrative. When I spoke to the parents, I realized that, you know, their conversation was enough for the movie. We didn't want to use a script to say that this is our point of view. I never wanted to have a point of view here. I wanted people to have their own point of view. After seeing the movie, after hearing the parents, they should have their view of this. That's the time when your inner self would tell you what is the action that you should take. If I were to tell somebody this is the action you should take, that makes it preachy. We didn't want to do that. We didn't want to take a clinical approach to the movie. We didn't do that. We wanted you to see the other side.
Exactly.
What happens behind these closed doors of their houses. How difficult it is for them to kind of pull this through. So what happened here is, when I was stitching these conversations together, I felt that, you know, there are moments where there were so many emotions in there, and this was transition of emotions. From one emotion to the other, it is transition, and that transitioning of emotions needed some touch of music. Hence I approached a musician from Kerala. I'd like to specifically take his name. His name is Jai Hari, who has worked in a movie called Athiran, where he has done a song, and this gentleman actually gave it a lot of life. He breathed life into the movie by actually giving it music, and music accentuated all those places where those emotions were transitioning, and it went very well.
So as it went very well, I hope your future also goes very well, and
Thank you so very much.
And we meet you in future as well when it comes to IFFI, or even maybe in big screens, internationally also.
Thank you.
Because having such movies actually helps you to accept and also understand what is going on in the society. And thank you so much for making such beautiful film. We wish you all very best, and thank you for being a part of Goa 365. I think on that note, we come to an end of this special discussion when it comes to the 51st International Film Festival of India. We will be back with much more interesting people like Mr. Shreedhar BS, who will share their journey when it comes to the film, and also how their mind can help you to change, can help your mind to get changed as well. I think I can say it that way. Keep watching Goa 365.